Hello, and welcome back to Her Becoming, episode 16. This is one of my most requested topics, and I'm really excited to dive into it today because it really applies to everyone. This is an episode you can send to your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your baby mama. Everyone is in some way interested in bettering themselves, and the way that we do that is through forming consistent habits. Whether that's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, it all comes back to habits and consistency. I recently just completed my holistic health and wellness coaching certification through IIN. And through the past year of school, I really realized that this is a specific topic that I'm so incredibly passionate about. I could talk about forming new habits and rewiring your brain and self-discipline as an act of self-love all freaking day. And it's really what I aim to center my work around as I move forward into coaching women. This is the topic that I'll really be focusing on. So it's one that I will be revisiting time and time again on this podcast. But today, I just want to give you an overview into how you can start forming habits that will actually stick. And I know the word habits and consistency, like these are kind of buzzwords that get tossed around freely, and you may be sick of hearing them by now. But the reality is, so much of our life is just habits, our routines, our rituals, our day-to-day. It's built up of all of these little habits that create our reality. And we are the creators, or the co-creators, as I like to say, with God, universe, whoever your higher power is, of our own reality. So we have the opportunity to shift our habits to create the life that we dream of. And I think that is the most magical, glorious thing that we can do. So when it comes to these habits and these lifestyle changes, you know what you need to do. Like, this is the hard truth, right? You know exactly what you need to do to feel better, to be a better person, to reach your goals. You already know what you need to do. And it probably just landed on your mind. Whatever landed, trust it. That's what you need to do, right? But you're not doing it. You are not doing it for probably many reasons, and you're not alone in that. But why does this happen? Why do we know what's good for us, what's going to make us feel better, what's going to help us live a healthier lifestyle? Why do we know what that is, but we have such a hard time actually implementing it, actually doing it, actually creating the life that includes that thing? I want to start by exploring a bit why this happens, because it happens to everyone. It happens to me. It happens to you. There are things in life that you want to achieve that you simply just are not going after right now for a variety of reasons. So let's talk about the things that can make creating new habits consistently so hard. You're not alone in this. Like I said, everyone goes through this, but understanding the reason and the why behind the struggle that you are having to implement these changes can make the shift into it a lot easier. So I'm going to call you on your bullshit right now. I'm going to call you out and know that it is coming with so much love and so much care and so much belief that I know that you can get to the other side of it. So the first reason you may be struggling to create new habits and stay consistent with them is because you are misaligned in your identity. That means that subconsciously you are resisting change because the new habit doesn't match who you believe that you are. So for example, you say things like, I'm just not a morning person. I'm just not a runner. That'll never be me. Oh, I just can't eat healthy. It's just not in my day to day. You are saying these things and it's creating a subconscious pattern that is going against the identity that you actually want to create for yourself. If you are someone that wants to get into running, but you believe at your core that you are not a runner, your brain isn't understanding why we would form this habit. It doesn't match the belief. This is why self-belief and identity work, which we're going to talk about quite a bit today, is so critical, because it's easier to act in alignment with who you think you are than to fight against it. So if you think you're not a morning person, it's easier to not be a morning person. If you think you're not a runner, it's easier to not be a runner. So that's the misalignment in identity. The second reason you might be struggling to create consistent habits is because you have this all or nothing thinking. I have seen this in so many clients and friends and family members. You think that if you can't do something perfectly, there's no point in trying. This perfectionist mindset leads to this constant cycle of starting and stopping these habits and going in all or nothing without any sort of sustainable consistency. My favorite example of this is people that start 75 hard and try to change their whole life in 75 days. And I don't have anything against 75 hard. It's not for me. Maybe it's for you. But what I hate to see is people using something as aggressive as a 75 hard to try to implement all of these habits at once to force change. And then they fail after a few days, 5, 10, 15 days. And it resets the cycle of believing, this just isn't for me, or I just can't do this, or I'm just not capable of being that person. When if they would have just started with one of those things, one habit, one change over those 75 days, they may have had success and built that confidence. So if you struggle with all or nothing thinking, I want to encourage you today to peel those layers back and explore what's making you feel like you have to go so hard. The third reason you may struggle with forming consistent habits is because you're staying in your comfort zone. It's comfy cozy there. Something about the life that you're living right now, it's bringing you comfort. It's bringing you safe, fuzzy, warm feelings. And when your brain sees something as safe, it doesn't want to disrupt it. So maybe right now it feels really safe to sleep in and snooze your alarm and you keep missing your morning workout, but your brain is like, oh, this feels so good because this is what we're used to. You don't want to disrupt your routine. Another reason you may be struggling is because your environment doesn't match your goals. We are going to get into this today and I cannot wait. Your current surroundings may be working against long-term sustainable change. This includes your home environment, your friends, your digital diet, what you're consuming. These things have to match the person you're wanting to become, and I cannot wait to get to this in today's episode. Another reason you may be struggling to form consistent habits is because you underestimate the discomfort of transition. This one is massive. I don't think people understand, and maybe you don't fully understand yet, that changes usually feel worse before they feel better. If you are trying to level up in your life and change a habit, create a routine, step into a new identity, it's going to come with a lot of discomfort before it feels really aligned. Without preparing for that dip or that icky feeling, people usually interpret the discomfort as this isn't working and then they stop. When in reality, if you would just keep going through that discomfort, you would arrive where you want to be. It's like when you go really hard in the gym and then you're sore the next day, but you're getting stronger. So thinking of that transition period, the discomfort is welcome. That's okay. But a lot of people underestimate that and it keeps us from moving forward. The final reason we'll cover as far as why you are not creating sustainable habits is because you lack self-trust. And we're going to dive deep into this one today. This one really means a lot to me because it's so important to have self-trust in order to step into your new identity. If you've tried and you've failed multiple times before, or you've given up multiple times before, you have actually created a habit of not trusting yourself. At this point, you and your brain and your spirit, you expect to let yourself down because that's what's normal for you. And it just becomes part of the routine. So lacking self-trust makes it virtually impossible to create these habits that we want to have in order to make our life feel better. So those are just a few of the many reasons why you might be struggling to create new habits. And I want you to know that you're not alone in any of this. I know I identify with a good handful of those. I'm sure that you do as well. You're not broken. We are not broken. We are human. It is completely normal. But again, I share that background to help you understand and start to uncover where your resistance is coming from. Why are you having such a hard time stepping into new habits and switching around your routines in a sustainable way? But I also want to talk about what do we do about this? I don't want to just call you out on your bullshit and leave you to figure it out on your own. I want to help you break through these barriers and create new habits that actually come with consistency and become part of your life and your identity in the long term. So the first thing that I want you to do is pick one thing to focus on for the remainder of this episode. One habit, one routine, one thing that you want to bring into your life or release from your life that you can focus on. If you need to pause the episode right here and identify what that one thing is, please do. A lot of people, and this goes back to the 75 hard example, try to change their lives overnight. Try to look at their life and pick 10 things that need to be implemented at the same time. And it makes it really likely that you will not go through with it. So I want you to identify that one thing in any area of your life, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, one change. Okay, now keep that one thing at the top of your mind for the remainder of this episode. We're going to talk through what it actually takes to create new habits with consistency. So first and foremost is self-belief. Self-belief is exactly what it sounds like. It is a true belief in yourself and in your abilities. To change the habit or to become the person that you want to be, you need to first believe that you are worthy and able to do so. Too many people try to change a habit, and from day one, they already have the belief that they are going to fail. You're essentially setting yourself up to be your own biggest hater. And in the early stages, the habit isn't automatic yet, so you don't have a lot of proof that it works. That means that self-belief is the thing that is going to carry you through that sticky middle part before you start to see the results of what you are trying to create. Without self-belief, there is no action to get you towards that goal. Because if you try to do the action without believing in yourself, you will fail. So how do you build self-belief? I could record an entire episode on this, and maybe I should. You have to change your thoughts. Our thoughts create our beliefs create our actions, and our actions create our reality. Thoughts, beliefs, actions, reality. And so we have to catch it at the beginning of that framework. When you're having thoughts around, I can't do this, maybe this isn't for me, I'm just not that person, she's so much more successful than I am, I could never be like her, you need to interrupt that little voice. You need to interrupt negative thought patterns and reframe them into self-belief dialogue. Things like, of course I can do this. Yes, this is meant for me. I am that person. That is how you build self-belief day in and day out. It's a whole lot of thought work. And I will record an episode on what I personally do to keep my thoughts in check because I'm a big advocate of thought work and I practice it every single day. The second thing that you need to do in order to create new habits with consistency is claim the identity. This goes hand in hand with self-belief, and we also touched on this in episode 15. You need to become the person that does the thing. Whether you are trying to implement a new workout routine, eat healthier, get an extra hour of sleep, you need to just become the person that does that thing. And claiming this identity happens through self-belief because our brain is constantly scanning for ways to prove that something is true. You need to claim the identity of the person that you're becoming because without claiming that identity, the old identity is going to come and try to sabotage this new habit because it doesn't match who you think that you are. So if I'm someone who wants to get better sleep, but I believe that I just can't sleep well, that old identity of I am someone who doesn't sleep well is going to make it really hard for me to step into this new habit of getting better sleep. Your identity needs to match the goal or the habit or the change that you are making. So my favorite way to claim an identity is to use my mantra that I say to myself every single day. It is, I am a person who keeps the commitments that I make to myself. I am a person who keeps the commitments that I make to myself. I use this in the mornings when it's difficult to get up for my morning workout. I use this when I don't feel like recording a podcast episode after working a full work day. I do this when I don't feel like meal prepping for myself. I say, I am a person who keeps the commitments that I make to myself. And what that is doing, it's increasing my self-belief, but it's also claiming the identity of someone who does not let herself down. Claiming the identity of someone that follows through on my commitments, no matter what area of my life I'm speaking of. That is a way to claim the identity, saying to yourself, I am a person who X, Y, and Z. The third way to create new habits with consistency is to change your environment or to create a proper environment for the change that you're trying to make. This one is so important, and people very often skip this step. Your environment needs to be set up for the person you are becoming, not the person that you are now. When I say your environment, I'm talking about your physical environment, your digital consumption, your friend group. Every place, every setting, every environment that you put yourself in needs to match the person you are becoming. Not your old identity, the new identity. So I'll give you a few examples here. If a habit that you want to implement is to wake up earlier so that you can go to the gym before work, the environment you would want to create is an environment that encourages peaceful sleep and encourages you to go to bed earlier. So that could mean turning down the lights after the sun goes down. That could mean putting your phone away at night before you go to bed. That could mean sleeping with brown noise, getting blackout curtains, creating a physical environment that will help make it easier for you to wake up earlier. Another example is if you want to eat healthier. When I refer to healthy eating, because I know health can mean so many different things, I'm referring to nutrient-dense, colorful whole foods. That is how I refer to healthy eating. So if you wanted to eat healthier, changing your environment would look like changing your grocery list, changing the foods that are accessible to you in your home, changing where you shop, going to the farmer's market. It could even look like inviting your friends over to have a home cooked meal together instead of going out for dinner and drinks. The environment is creating space for that habit to change and for it to stick. A really big one with changing your environment is changing the people that you surround yourself with. Spend time with people who already have the habits that you desire. If you want to start running, if you want to become a runner and take on that identity, join a run club. If you want to start a business, surround yourself with entrepreneurs. The people that you surround yourself with are also part of your environment. And changing your habits without changing your environment simply does not work. Willpower is a finite resource. We do not always have willpower, but the environment that you set can make a good habit or a better habit the default option for you, which lowers the need for willpower. So I'll give you an example of this that works really well for me, which is in my home, in my living room, I have a meditation corner set up. It has my meditation cushion, it has my little altar, it has my oils, it has my crystals, and everything just stays out. I don't put it away. That is me creating an environment that is making the good habit of meditating more accessible. So even when I don't have that willpower, even when I don't feel like it, I look into my living room and I'm like, well, there's my meditation corner. I'm going to sit there today, even though I don't feel like it, because it's already set up and ready for me. So essentially, this comes down to how can you align your surroundings with your future self? How can you make it easy for that identity to feel natural and not forced? For me, having a meditation corner makes it a no-brainer for me to sit down and meditate every single day. Think of this one as planting a seed in the proper soil to give it an opportunity to grow. You wouldn't plant a seed in some random environment that wouldn't produce a flower. So think of your environment as the soil. How can you make the soil that is your environment the most nutrient dense and the most hospitable to the person you are becoming? The next way to create consistent habits, and arguably the most talked about, is to get your reps in. I like to use the phrase get your reps in as just another way to say be consistent, but this is where your confidence is built. Consistency requires confidence. You don't stay consistent because it's easy. It is not easy to do something every single day. You stay consistent because you trust yourself to do it even on the days you don't feel like it. And that happens when you get your reps in over and over time. If you know me, you know I'm a huge sports girl, and so I love a sports reference. But think of a professional athlete. They are getting their reps in. They are making those 10,000 shots, those 10,000 baskets in order to create the habit and improve their skill. So what do we look like when we try something for 3 days and then give up because we don't think it's working or because it's uncomfortable? 10,000 reps, 10,000 hours. You have to put the work in to get the result that you're looking for. And a lot of us just lack consistency because we lack patience. We lack the ability to sit in that discomfort. I say we, but I actually am really good at this. I am one of the most self-disciplined people that I know personally, and it's because I know how much confidence comes out of being consistent and how much I have to get my reps in if I want to become a better person. We could also look into the neuroscience of this, neuroplasticity. The brain forms and strengthens new neural pathways through repetition. So when you try something for 3 days and quit, you haven't even given your brain the chance to adapt to that habit or to get used to doing that thing. You're not even giving yourself a chance. You have to do something over and over and over again in order to form and strengthen those new neural pathways, which essentially are the foundation of creating your habits. If you want to eat healthier, you need to do it consistently so that your brain gets used to reaching for the healthier option. So how do you get your reps in? And it sounds so simple, right? Just do it, and that is part of it. But it all comes down to the combination of everything we've reviewed today. To get your reps in, you have to build your self-belief. You have to believe that you are capable and worthy of doing the thing that you say you're going to do. You have to claim the identity. You have to become the person who is willing to do it. And you have to change your environment. Once you create an environment that aligns with your higher self, it becomes a lot easier to get those reps in. My meditation corner makes it easier for me to meditate every single day. But then you also have to make the decision to just do it. Even when it's not sexy, even when you don't feel like it, you have to have the self-discipline to keep your commitments to yourself. I say this all the time, and we can go back to episode 4 if you haven't listened to that one yet. Self-discipline is a deep form of self-love. Self-discipline is how we grow. It's how we hold ourselves accountable. And there is nothing more loving that you can do for yourself than to stay disciplined in becoming the woman that you know you can be. If you are someone who needs a technique in order to get your reps in or a little bit of support, I can offer you habit stacking. Habit stacking is a proven way to help you become more consistent in your habits. And to do this, you essentially attach a new habit onto an existing one in your routine to anchor them faster and create those neural pathways a little bit quicker. So a good example, we'll stay on meditation. If you want to meditate every day for 3 minutes and you also already drink coffee every morning, a great practice for you could be, before I have my coffee every morning, I do my 3-minute meditation. You could even gamify it a bit, which I like to do, and say, I can't have my morning coffee until I've meditated. I do that with my scrolling with Instagram specifically. I cannot open Instagram until I have meditated, read, and journaled. Monday through Friday, period. That's how my morning goes. And so when you stack those habits, it becomes a little bit easier for you to make that decision and for it to stick. Okay, I dropped a lot on you today, and this is a conversation that we will continue to have. I can talk about it for hours. It's my favorite topic. So I'm going to leave you with some prompts so that you can continue to think about this and understand what you may be desiring in your life as far as lifestyle changes and habits. I encourage you to re-listen to this episode if it resonated with you. Maybe pick something else you want to change and listen to it again to hear it from a different angle. And as always, share with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, all of that goodness. I'm just so grateful that you're here. Okay, so your prompts, and I will put these in the show notes as well. Number 1, what about my life right now is not working? And why? What about my life right now is not working and why? This will really quickly help you uncover maybe some additional areas that habits need to shift or routines need to change. And the second prompt is, what about my environment does not support the person I want to become? This one really gets into the environmental changes you need to make because, again, you need to create a space that aligns with the person you're becoming, not necessarily the person that you are today. It's really important. So what about my environment does not support the type of person I want to become? If you want support with this, please reach out to me. I'm so excited to share with you that I'm opening up a limited amount of spots for one-on-one wellness coaching sessions at 50% off. If you listen to this podcast, you will get 50% off of a wellness coaching session with me where we can really dive into your routines, your habits, and what needs to change to help you step into the person you are becoming. I will see you on the next episode, and until then, be well.